Vicki Marie. And it's Thursday. It's the best night of the week. It's the Members Live. The Let's Chat Members Live. And oh my God, I need somebody normal to talk to tonight because there's just I'm living in a parallel universe at the moment as far as true crime at the moment. So obviously we're going to talk about Madeleine tonight. We're going to carry on from what I was talking about this afternoon. We're going to talk about Madeleine Soto. Let's just put her picture up. I'm sure we haven't forgotten what she looks like. But then, of course, there's been this news about, I don't know if you've heard about it or if you know anything about it, but the Gilgo Beach serial killer, Rex Heurmann, the police went back into his residence last week and sort of carried a load of stuff out, and everyone was speculating about what it was. And it's all this weird stuff about his daughter. And anyway, I haven't quite computed my head around it yet. I'm only just really researching it. I was researching it a little bit before I came on. I'm going to show you a little bit of it, but it's like, what's going on? What's going on? There's a world out there. I know I don't know everything. But, but it's just I'm completely speechless. Any of you who know what I'm talking about, you'll know what I mean. So I've got all my head's gone. I can't even find poor Madeleine's photo. Let's have a look at Maddie. So we are going to be talking about Madeleine Soto tonight. It's, it's very, so I'm going to play you a little bit about this Rex Heurmann thing. And you will definitely see, you'll see why I feel I'm in a parallel uni. I'm just like watching this person talking, my mouth just dropped open. I thought, I'm quite old. I've been around the block a few times. I thought I'd heard about most things in life, but I've learned something new today, that's for sure. Anyway, sorry. Now, so yeah, a girl called Paloma joined us earlier, but she's not a member, and I'd forgotten to set it to members only. Hi, Paloma. She's from California and she's been following the case of Madeleine since day one. So I just said to her that this is a members live. She probably can't even see that message actually now. But I will be releasing this video afterwards. I quite often do that, don't I? I edit it and then release it afterwards to the public. But it was my fault because I forgot to set it as members only. But anyway, so I'm not going to do a great big long video about them. What I will do is release them in bits and pieces, like short videos. I mean, and so there are a lot of them, obviously, a lot of these papers, and it'll take a long time. But yeah, I'll just do it in bits and pieces. I noticed that Grizzly True Crime Gisela, she's releasing bits and pieces on her Twitter account. And I think that's a good idea. She's just releasing segments here and there. So I think it'd be too much to do too much all at once. So let's have a look at this now. I just want to prepare you for this because it's not very nice. So let me just fill you in the background. So this is about the serial killer, Rex Heurmann, the Gilgo Beach killer or the Long Island serial killer. They finally caught up with him after many years that he's been loose, and so he's been arrested. And then, of course, aspersions always cast on the family, which you always think is a bit unfair. But now these sort of strange things have come out about his family. So that's what we're going to just have a look. Now, I'm not going into it in great detail. We're going to talk about Madeleine tonight. But tomorrow morning-ish time, I will be doing a thing on this. But I just wanted to give you a little taster and just really share this because I'm sort of a bit in, I just can't believe it. But anyway, do you know what? There's some really weird people out there. You think, God, you think I thought I was weird because I have Marmite and banana on toast. Do you know what I mean? But there's proper weird people out there. So what they're saying, this attorney is saying that evidence exists of Rex Heurmann's family's involvement in this case, which is worrying. But anyway, hi, Heather. Just, I can see the chat seems to be working better. So prepare yourself for this one.
A furry is someone who is an enthusiast for anthropology.
Did you know what a furry was? I didn't know what a furry was. Believe me, I'm not a prude, and I thought I knew something about most fetishes. I've lived a long time. I thought I knew a lot about most fetishes, but I didn't know what a furry was. Are there any furries out there, I wonder?
Anthropomorphize animal characters, often portrayed in sexualized fashion. A sampling of this person's content can be found on the Twitter account ebchimera_adult. I might add that these images are not for the faint of heart. It is cartoon pornography, but it depicts various grotesque acts of bestiality.
So furries, they like this pornography, which is cartoon pornography, but it's bestiality and it portrays really horrible things. Cartoons, but really, really horrible things involving animals. And the people that get off on this are called furries. And Rex Heurmann's daughter is a furry. She has, she's part of these accounts. She follows it. They've found all the. I am a speechless. It's only occasionally that I get speechless. This has made me speechless. So not only he is a serial killer. Now that doesn't mean that his daughter is a serial killer. She's in her late 20s, I think, the girl. I mean, I'll go into it more tomorrow. She's not a serial killer. It doesn't mean to say she had anything to do with the murders. Who knows? But she has got this I'm sorry, this is a strange fetish. I know people have fetishes, but come on, to be getting off on watching cartoons with animals doing horrible things. It's not right, is it? I'm sorry, but it isn't.
That this person produces grotesque cartoon hentai style pornography is significant, as it is seemingly the only account with which Victoria has engaged publicly, deeming this person's content worthy of a reblog, and that according to the district attorney, Rex Heurmann himself searched specifically for hentai porn, searches which the DA described as sadistic. While Victoria's likes on Tumblr are not available for public review, some counts are. She has chosen not to make.
So Rex as well, Rex Heurmann, he searched for these furry things. I mean, I just can't spit the words out. And to be called furries, it just seems such an innocuous name, doesn't it? For such a horrible, horrible, grotesque thing. There is just something wrong with these people, my God.
Public. We can look to the list of accounts she follows to inform us as to what kinds of images Victoria is viewing. Upon examination of the roster of accounts Victoria follows on Tumblr, nearly every account is focused on the circulation of furry art and images. Victoria has a preference for furry pornographic material and dark, macabre art as seen on various accounts. And I'll go into some of these accounts right now. There's Ebony Chimera, a furry porn content creator. NIEH furry, a furry content and furry porn creator. I guess I should be thankful. A furry porn and furry content creator who links to a fan fiction account of theirs on a website called Archive of Our Own, which publishes explicit content. This person's works and bookmarks displays a preference for fan fiction with the self-described themes of graphic depictions of violence, rape, child abuse, strangulation, underage prostitution, asphyxiation, and rough sex. Squeak Squad 524, a blog which describes itself as an art blog of Yiffertons, Yif and its derivations.
Yeah, just call it art. Call it art, and then it's you know, for fuck's sake, why are these accounts even allowed to continue? When I think I got through off Twitter just because I think I said, I think the reason I got through off Twitter was because I said that I thought the new X sign for Twitter looked like an escort service. Next minute, my account was suspended, I think because I said the words escort service. I don't know that because they've never explained to me why they deleted my account. So I use a different account than I used to now. I appealed against it. You got no appeal. So my Twitter account's deleted because I said escort service, and all these furries have got all these accounts depicting all these horrible things, but in cartoon form. So it's art. It's not porno. Oh, you know, it's perfectly acceptable because it's art, all in the name of art. Honest to God, I'll tell you what, there's people walking amongst us that need to be sectioned.
Being slang terms used by furries to refer to pornographic content of anthropomorphic animal characters. Lilera, the account from which most of these images come, and it's an account which circulates disturbing images of gore, violent pornography, and other fetish content. The content creator describes themselves and their blog and their bio as a gore whore, with content warnings, self-described as extreme gore, hard vor, violence extreme, vor being cannibalistic imagery of a victim eaten alive. This is to quote the dictionary, the prey's flesh being ripped, chewed, or bitten, resulting in horrific injuries and often loss of life.
See this guy here on the left, he's rocking backwards and forwards. I don't know, it's like a self-soothing thing. I don't know if it's because he's thinking he's been on these sites or if it's just because it's so disturbing. And you know, just seeing what you said, Heather, I don't think it is on the dark web. Victoria, Rex Heurmann's daughter, these are Tumblr accounts. Tumblr is like Facebook. It's like it's just a social media account. It's not on the dark web. It's out there.
According to a translator familiar with Scandinavian languages with whom we consulted, Victoria's account handle Vinan de Madtour may itself be an allusion to eating and consumption, a disturbing reference when considered in the context of the hard vor fetish content Victoria views and follows.
Hardcore, they call it. Hardcore. Oh my God. Now, of course, we don't know about Victoria's childhood. When you know, her dad is a serial killer. I mean, has he had some effect on her? Has he abused her? You know, we don't know. I mean, she's in her late 20s now. We don't know if maybe he has abused her. You know, who knows? But crikey. I'm trying not to swear. Yeah. So John Ray, an attorney who represents the families of some of the victims, spoke to reporters on evidence he says could implicate family members of Rex Heurmann, including his 27-year-old daughter, Victoria. And he accused the alleged serial killer's daughter of posting disturbing images to social media. This appears to be the remains of a human being that looks half-eaten, Ray said, pointing to photographs he said they found on her Tumblr blog via a link from her LinkedIn page. Because she's an artist. She's an artist, apparently. Now, you know, quite often art, things that to me just look like, you know, blatant, sort of disgusting things are passed off as art. So this is a person half-eaten. Now, you know, you can't send someone to prison for drawing a picture, I suppose, like that. But, you know, you've got to wonder at the mental state of someone who makes a picture like that, haven't you? So there she is. That is Victoria. This is Asa Ellerup, who is Rex Heurmann's wife. And this is their daughter, Victoria Heurmann, the wife and daughter of accused Gilgo Beach serial killer, Rex Heurmann. Just shows you don't know what's going on behind closed doors, do you? So Ray explained they didn't have any more evidence than the photos that were shown because it appears she erased all of the sites she had. Well, I'll tell you what, as soon as her dad got arrested, I expect she was erasing everything. When asked if he thought Heurmann's daughter had anything to do with the alleged murders, Ray said, "We can infer from this, and it's not the only inference, but it's a very strong inference, that this girl was made over the course of years somehow to become accustomed to liking what you see here. This happened because somebody did something," Ray added. "She certainly falls within the circle of suspicion." So, is this why the police went back to the house recently? Or is it something else? Anyway, John Ray, who represents the families of Shanann Gilbert and Jessica Taylor, says new and important evidence regarding the family members of alleged killer Rex Heurmann has been uncovered. Now, Shanann Gilbert, I have done a video about her. I've done videos about the Gilgo Beach killers, but not because it's coming up to trial. So there's a lot more coming out, more things to be talked about. But I haven't done any for a while. And Shanann Gilbert was, I don't know if she is a victim of Rex, because she was the girl, something happened to her, you know, because she was found dead in the area. But it's because of her, isn't it, that it was when the police were looking for her, when she went missing, Shanann Gilbert, that's when they found all these bodies. But it's thought that she perhaps was not an actual victim of him. Anyway, he says the information is regarding allegations of Heurmann's family and their alleged involvement. And he says he will release the evidence at a press conference on Thursday in Long Island. Let's just have a look at this video. This is when because they've gone home once, because when Rex Heurmann was first arrested, of course, the police went in and, you know, trashed the house, basically. And the family had to leave. There's a son as well, but I think he's an adoptive son of Rex Heurmann. Anyway, and then the family came back and then they had to leave again. Oh, no, they're back again. They're back again, are they? Anyway, let's have a look.
Family of suspected serial killer Rex Heurmann were spotted at their home on Long Island today for the first time since his arrest.
All right, they were seen looking very upset, even tearful, as they returned to their now torn-up property, swarmed with media and police.
Jody Goldberg has more on this emotional homecoming.
Asa Ellerup, the estranged wife of suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heurmann, returned to her Massapequa Park home on Thursday with her children, shouting at reporters to go away before making a crude gesture. It's unclear.
Now, I've got to say, it's not right that they're doing that because they haven't been charged with anything. I think her son has got learning difficulties. He's an adult, as you can see. But it's not right that they're there taking pictures at their home when there's, they've not been charged with anything. So does seem unfair, that, to me.
If the family plans to stay in the home.
Only pictures, thank you.
Her son offered no comment as he carried a bed and bowls for the family dog after a walk. He came back outside and asked police for paper towels before wiping his head, getting a dog toy, and going back in. The family's return comes 2 days after detectives spent 12 days searching Heurmann's home to see if the man who worked by day is.
So here he is, the guy, great big guy. So 12 days, the police went back there just unexpectedly. Nobody really know. I think he's been charged with 2 more murders. Whether it was for more evidence, they went back. But the family, everybody was feeling sorry for the family. But of course now, these revelations about the daughter, that'll be it now. Everybody will be, criticizing at least the daughter anyway.
An architect could be connected to the murders of even more women. No parking signs are now posted on the street and around the corner from Heurmann's home. Officers are writing tickets for anyone who blocks traffic. Cameras are also installed for safety. The Suffolk County Sheriff's Office says Heurmann can make phone calls and receive mail in jail. Staff there is in the process of vetting incarcerated sex workers who have come forward claiming they've had contact with Heurmann. Now he's due back in court this Tuesday. District Attorney Ray Tierney says he plans to prosecute the case himself. In Massapequa Park, Long Island, Jody Goldberg, Fox 5 News.
Yeah. So they suspect him he's been charged with 6 murders, but over 3 decades.
Well, FDNY Commissioner Laura Kavanaugh is pushing.
But it's likely that there were others. So it's unclear at this time who exactly the evidence involves. Rex Heurmann's wife, or estranged wife, because they are separated, has expressed sympathy for the victims and their families, but she also said she'd give Heurmann the benefit of the doubt. Let's just have a look at this video. Oh no, these are pictures, aren't they? Yeah. So there's the daughter. This is Victoria. She's a furry. Furry. Fuck off, you furry. Sorry, excuse me, but just the fact that using animals even in that way, it's just horrible, isn't it? It's horrible. You can call it art as much as they want. It's not art. It's just nasty. It's nasty, for fuck's sake. Anyway, so she has given Rex the benefit of the doubt, as we all deserve. She said, I will listen to all of the evidence and withhold judgment until the end of the trial. Well, everyone's innocent till proven guilty, I suppose. So I thought I'd just tell you about that, but I'm going to do a more comprehensive video about that tomorrow. It's just sort of taken me a bit back, as you can imagine, because, well, I never knew what a bloody furry was, for a start. I wish I didn't know, but yeah, I bet get the dog out of there, for fuck's sake. Get that dog out of that house. Jesus Christ. Oh, do you know what? Oh my God. I know that most people are not weird like that, but when you think, although the trouble with the internet is, of course, it's brought all those people together You know, she could have been a furry 30 years ago. She would have never met another furry, would she? But of course, now it's all there on the internet. She can go on there, on Tumblr, and on fucking LinkedIn and find other furries. Crikey. She's getting on Heather's nudges. Good God. Good God. Okay, so I'm sorry because we're you know, obviously we're going from one twonk to another. Really, we go with someone else who'll get on your nudges. Heather is of course Stephan Stern. So this afternoon we were looking at the documents or the court TV. Winnie, I keep calling him Winnie Politan. Vinny Politan. Sorry, Vinny, if you're ever watching this, which I doubt very much you will be. Sorry for calling you Winnie. So we're going to start where we left off, where he was talking about. God, do you know what? It's totally nonplussed me, all that about the furries. Anyway, not furry queens, like, you know, like, or not the truth furry or the tooth furry that brings you your money when you put your teeth under there. Oh God, I can't get it out of my head. Anyway, so it's awful, isn't it, when to get something like that out of your head, you've got to go into something even worse. These documents released about Stephan Stern. So Vinny will help. Vinny or Winnie, he'll cheer me up at least, because I do quite like him. But of course, this is a serious subject as well. So, good God. Do you know what? I think there's just some total weirdos out there, isn't there? So this is where we got to. He was going through I definitely want to get hold of these documents because I want to go through the things I want to read, not just with respect to Vinny. Obviously, not just what Vinny decides to highlight. There's some very interesting things in there from what Gisela from Grizzly True Crime, what she's been tweeting out on. See, you're never going to say what she's been Xing out, are you? So why don't they go back to Twitter? Anyway, never mind. I'll probably get knocked off Twitter now again. She's been tweeting out like little bits, and I will read some of them because there's some very interesting things, like about how Madeleine describes Stephan as a weirdo stepdad and things like that. You know, things how Jen had said to, I think I might mention this earlier, Jen had said to Madeleine that when she was 18, she was going to throw her out and this, that, and the other. But I do think that's the sort of thing, they're the sort of arguments that happen between parents and teenagers, aren't there? But, you know, from what we can gather from these documents is Madeleine had got to an age where she was butting heads a little bit with Jen. You know, that does happen, doesn't it? You know, young girls start growing up. I did it with my mum. You know, you start sort of, it's awful really when I think back about it, and I think, you know, I wasn't very nice to my mum when I was sort of that age, and I could kick myself for it now, but of course you don't realise at the time. I did make up for it afterwards, but I didn't have long enough to make up for it properly because, you know, my mum sort of died. So once they're gone, that's it. You can't apologise to them. Well, I do still apologise to her. Sometimes I walk around the house apologising to her many times, especially now I've been through that with my own child, you know. So, yeah, I think sometimes you just don't realise, you know, until you have children yourself, you know, what that's like for a parent. Anyway, let's carry on from where we were.
Daughters, right? You know, 9 times out of 10, it is in that situation. How important is that? Is this psychologically, where do you think mom is on all of this? Do you think it's possible that she's using her daughter to keep a man in her life? And if so, that's illegal, right? Because then you're almost like you're trafficking your daughter to keep a man in your life. It's a tough case to prove, though.
There are a lot of layers here, Vinny, and there are a lot of layers, so it's tough to know what she's thinking. There's that video of her standing in front of Stephan at the insurance tax office where she's talking about her missing daughter, and he's behind her to the side. It looks like a hostage video, and he's there. Yeah, he's almost standing guard, and that's why, there's part of me that thinks that she's just a clueless woman who has been on.
See, I agree with this guy. This is what I think. He's there. Remember the very first video where he was sat behind cracking his knuckles, and she was like, I do think she's clueless. She's definitely guilty of being totally stupid. But I personally don't think she's guilty of anything else. I agree with this guy.
Under the thumb of this awful monster. And so that's where I am as a prosecutor, that I just don't think they have enough yet to file charges against her.
How important is the mental state of of this mom, right? Like how she reacted to all this. If she has a mental breakdown or something, is that going to impact, or should it impact what is done with her?
First of all, she hasn't yet had that mental breakdown, and she may never have that.
She may have, I don't know.
Well, to the best of our knowledge and belief, playing lawyer for a second. But the fact that she was so much a part of what went on, I don't think it should have any impact. I think a jury would be itching, begging for her to go to trial so they can listen or not listen to the evidence, but convict her regardless.
All right, stay where you are. We've got much more new information connected to the death of Madeleine Soto.
We have a very strong bond. But, I'm the person she goes to when her mom gets in a fight with her and she needs someone to comfort her. And
So his voice is just so annoying. I'm the person she goes to when her mom. Oh God! And he's they've got a strong bond. Oh my God, this guy. I don't think I've ever been so angry with someone.
like I'm that person for her. This girl knows nothing but love here in this house.
It's hard to listen to that, knowing what we know now. Take a look. More information that was revealed in these documents related to the investigation. And this again, the Holiday Inn Club.
I mean, Vinny is so angry, isn't he? I think they should put Stephan Stearns in a room for half an hour with Vinny. I think Vinny would sort him out. Get the anger in his voice. He's just like, he's really struggling to hide his contempt, isn't he? Stephan Stearns is probably one of the worst cases, isn't it? This poor girl, what she went through all those years, and then to end up in killing her and just discarding her by the roadside. It's disgusting.
Vacations parking garage, 9:40 a.m. Stearns is spotted carrying a limp body. While in the parking garage, a male wearing a dark hat, red shirt, and tan pants exited the vehicle and opened the trunk. The male then walked to the front passenger side of the vehicle, opened the door, and proceeded to carry what appeared to be a limp body to the trunk of this vehicle. Still with us, true crime live streamer Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates. Ray, this is another huge development. Your thoughts about this and what else you've learned about this Holiday Inn Club Vacations parking garage?
Well, it was up on the top of the parking garage. I guess he apparently backed in, like just like you read, and then he opened the trunk, took her out of the passenger seat, and put her in there. And then, I mean, it's weird because I guess that was the spot that he figured out that he could put her into the trunk without anybody seeing him. But again, there's surveillance cameras in the hotel. So doesn't it feel to you like he didn't know what the hell he was doing on this night? Like he just
Yeah, this is why I think this was not a planned thing. I think something went wrong that night or that morning or in the middle of the night, because he's not thought it through. He's not planned it properly. He's gone to this parking garage because he's thought there's been nobody there, but forgotten about the surveillance cameras. You know, and so what he's trying to do now, because he's driven to the school with her sitting in the car, because he wants to make it look as if he took her to school, because that's the story he knows he's got concocted in his head. Now he's got to show her not being in his car anymore, because now supposedly he's coming home from school where he's dropped her off. So he's gone to this place where he thinks there'll be nobody, which there was nobody there, but apart from surveillance cameras, idiot, and taken her out of the front and put her in the boot, bless her. Very sad.
Committed, he killed Madeleine, but didn't have a plan afterwards. And that's why we have this thing about, like, remember the whole McDonald's thing where he did these U-turns? He kept wanting to go to McDonald's to try to explain why his car is moving around. And then he gets back to the apartment complex at 8:19, and then he leaves again at 8:31. Then he ends up at this hotel here, and then eventually after that, he makes his way back home at around 11 o'clock. He's back at his house, and then he leaves again. I don't know if you're going into that next, but he leaves again at like 12:40, and they have him completely mapped out with like 20 different surveillance cameras on the highway 192. And it shows him almost all the way to where he placed Madeleine's body in the bamboo shoots.
Yeah, let's get to that right now, because we have that. And this is where police discovered Madeleine's body. Just a few feet into the bamboo tree line, we noticed what appeared to be blue jeans. As we got closer, we noticed what appeared to be a body.
Now, I just want to give you a bit of a warning here, because it's sort of quite graphic what they say about Madeleine's body.
The top half of the body was covered by a green-colored hooded sweatshirt, and the bottom half was covered with blue jeans. The body was laying on the left side in somewhat of a fetal position. It appeared that the body was covered by pieces of hay or dry grass. Based on my training and experience, it was apparent this was a human body. I did not see any signs of life. I could clearly see flies covering the body. Then we have the description from the medical examiner. She was observed in a state of decomposition with visible insect activity around her mouth, left eye, ears, and right hand. Discoloration was observed on her face, neck, torso, back, and hands. And then we have that map of where the body was discovered. And there's a couple of yellow markers on there on the right side.
So very sad, so very sad. I'll just dump her there. I mean, this is a girl that he said he loved. There was so much love in our house, you know. I looked upon her as if she was my own. This man is the devil. I mean, he really, God, you know, I thought giant brick pasta was like the devil but this man is the devil incarnate. I mean, he really is. To be able to do that to Madeleine, I you know, again, it's just speechless. I'm just speechless.
So the body's on the left side of the screen in the red, but across that hickory tree road, you see those two markers, tire fragments.
Yeah, those are, yeah.
And the body was about 72 feet from the road. And this is where we get back to that initial story. You had a witness who saw someone fitting the description, changing the tire over there. And our question always was it an actual flat tire, or was it a ruse to pull over to the side of the road and get rid of a body? But you've got some tire fragments, so it was a flat tire. The question is, did he get it driving around, or did he do it to himself?
Yeah, I actually think he had an actual flat tire. That's why her body was found so close to the road there. He wasn't able, he had a flat tire. He had to pull over as quickly as possible, kind of in a secluded place. He's on a straightaway so he can.
Good that he had a flat tire, because, I mean, he was already, to be honest, already there was probably enough evidence But everything conspired against him, and that's good. You know, he had his flat tire, so he had to dispose of her. You know, perhaps he would have hidden her more comprehensively. I don't know. But at least she was found relatively quickly. She wasn't left out there too long. You know, to just leave her there and let insects, you know, go on her and that, you know, just disgusting. He should get her. What? Well, he's going to get the death penalty. He's going to get the death penalty, 100%, because he has got nothing to bargain with. There's too much evidence against him. Might as well just, you know, hang him now, really.
See in both directions. And when he noticed there was no cars coming either direction, he would have had to taken her body and ran towards that fence. I guess it was open at the time. And then he ran around, put her in the bushes, and then he waited and just kind of walked out to make sure there was no cars coming, and then made his way back to his car, and then likely changed his tire after that, because you would want to get rid of, you know, if you're a criminal, you'd want to probably get rid of the body first before you started working on your tire. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I agree with you 10,000%, because if you're working on the side of the road on your tire, you could have a good Samaritan come by to help you. Or if law enforcement happens to be in the area, especially in the friendly Central Florida area, they will likely stop to make sure you're okay and ask you if you need help. And you don't want to have that body in the back of your car at that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
So as you've gone through all these documents, anything else that really struck you and made you surprise you, or kind of put some pieces together a little differently than maybe you thought prior to getting these hundreds and hundreds of documents?
Yeah, it was crazy going through all of those. I mean, there's so many documents. I think what I'm glad to see in it is that sort of puts the pieces of the puzzle together a little bit better than we had, because now we know that at 7:36 in the morning, when he's seen at the dumpster, it was actually, he threw a plastic bag in the dumpster. Inside the plastic bag was a backpack and one Croc shoe. And inside the backpack, that was inside the bag, was the laptop. So, you know, all those lies that Stephan Stearns, oh, she was, you know, with her laptop and backpack, and he knew that wasn't true. But when he went back later, after he was at the crime scene, he drove back to the apartment complex, and around, I think it's like 4:40 or so in the afternoon. I can't remember the exact time, but he is seen throwing the tire treads into the garbage can. Now, you know for sure that those tire pieces that they found at the crime scene are going to match those tire treads perfectly. Stephan Stearns is absolutely toast in this case. I mean, he has like no chance of.
Exactly. He literally is toast if he's going to the electric chair, because he has nowhere to go with this. There's nothing. There's nothing that the police haven't got. There's nothing withheld, you know, so he's got no bargaining chips whatsoever. So, you know, as I've said before, the only bargaining chip he's got is to plead guilty. You know, do a plea deal where if he pleads guilty, he doesn't get the death penalty. At the moment, he's pleading not guilty. As far as I know, I'm not sure actually if he's entered a plea or not. But that is literally the only bargaining chip that Stephan Stearns has got. There's nothing else. There's no evidence you know, they've got all the evidence they need. They've got Madeleine's body. They've got everything. So, yeah, you know, he needs to plead guilty if he's got any chance of avoiding the death penalty.
Of any viable defense whatsoever.
So let's get back to your point, Gray, here about the actions and how it doesn't make a ton of sense, and he's seemingly driving back and forth. I'm sensing some panic, which might lead us to, he was not planning this out. Like, this may have been in the midst of another attempted sexual assault where there is a reaction and something happens, and that's when he takes the actions that end the life of Madeleine Soto, and now he's got, whether it's minutes or hours, to try to figure out how do I cover this up? How do I get rid of her? How do I have a cover story? And it seems from all these interviews and everything else, his plan was to do that drive, mimic like he's driving with her. She's propped up so any cameras will see her, and then drive towards the school. And then have that story that, hey, I dropped her off not at school, but close to the school, and then she started to walk, which leaves it open to someone abducted her because she was dropped off at school a little early. There weren't a lot of people in the area. There weren't other kids. And that was going to be the story. It may still be his defense story, but it looks like it's completely shattered by the great investigation that was done by Kissimmee and Orange County in this.
Oh, it's been absolutely amazing. If you go through in that 900-page document and you go down to where they do the, I think, cell tower information, where it's just screenshot after screenshot of it changing, you can actually just hit the arrow key down, and it's like an animated movie. You can actually see where the vehicle is moving on the roads, different cell tower. Those are from video cameras, but then also the cell tower information, you can see where each of the cell phones were from different people. And it was interesting because in there it mentioned Stephan Stern's dad's cell phone information. I was wondering if he was using his dad's cell phone that night. Wasn't really sure about that, but it just seems so, discombobulated. He's just running around. He doesn't, he takes off. And I totally agree with you that I think it's possible, very possible, that the murder itself wasn't really something he had initially planned, but something happened that night that made him realize that he has to do this, but he didn't plan anything else out. That's why so many cameras picked him up.
Yeah, thank goodness for these cameras. Gray Hughes investigates on YouTube. Make sure you check it out. Deep dives always on these cases. Thanks so much. Let's bring back in our think tank, Daryl Cohen, Molly Palmer, Dave Arenberg. What do you suspect this trial is going to look like? Not the one for everything that was found on his phone. That's the first one.
Sorry, hang on. Hey, no. Sorry, there's the chihuahua starts barking, and then Princess Tia has to bark as well, don't you?
But this one, the death penalty murder trial, what's it going to be about?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, like I said, you don't plead your client out to the death penalty, and you kind of go through the motions. And I think any death penalty attorney—
Will they go with his story, though, that he dropped her off?
I think that the best bet is going to be to— I think Gray Hughes's insight was pretty on point. Was this planned out, or was this something that happened and now he's just in a panic and trying to cover his tracks? Unfortunately, again, when you run your mouth like he did and you make a statement like that, it kind of, it's going to work against him no matter what the facts are and however the evidence comes out, and the evidence is already incredibly strong. But I think you just sit beside your client and you make sure the government does its job, because death is on the table. That's it. You sit there and you let them present their case and meet their burden. And that's what these trials look like. And it happens all the time in the death penalty space.
Vinny, I think the prosecutors agree that this was not premeditated. This was not thought out. This was a guy who was panicking, because when it came to the death penalty aggravators, which is going to be the penalty phase of this trial, they did not mention the cold, calculated, and premeditated aggravator. They could have. That's not one of the four that were mentioned. So that makes me believe that they think this was a guy who was committing a terrible crime of sexual abuse, killed Madeleine, panicked, so it was not premeditated.
And I don't tend to agree. I absolutely agree. But I think that he is not going to have a theory of defense. I think his theory of defense—
Let me throw this out to you, Daryl, and tell me if you think they'll run with it. Right, his story is he drops her off. The night that she's reported missing, Orange County deputies respond to that church in that parking lot. They go and look at the surveillance video. They see a girl by herself. It's blurry. You can't identify who it is, but it's clearly a younger girl by herself in that parking lot, and then sort of leaves the screen. So that exists, because that night the Orange County deputies thought they had video of her based upon the statements of Stearns. So
surely he's not going to plead not guilty on that evidence, because after that he was seen putting Madeleine in the boot of the car. So how's he going to explain that away? How's he going to explain the CCTV in the parking lot of him putting Madeleine in the back of the car? But I know what he's saying. The thing is, you know, you have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And if the police have got that grainy CCTV of some young girl actually in the school area, because initially they did think that was Madeleine, didn't they, before they realised what had happened, maybe that can plant a seed of reasonable doubt.
Stearns' lawyers are going to let the state attorney's office prove the case, and they're going to try, in my view, to show that the theory of the state is inaccurate, that this may very well have been the girl, may have been Soto. I didn't kill her, he says, but he can't say anything. He can't testify, and his lawyers have got to be very careful about establishing a theory, because if it's directly contrary to what the state attorney's office theory is, and the evidence is going to be against them, they've got to be very careful. So they have to, as Molly says, prove it step by step by step. Sit there, hold his hand, and try your best to make a good defense. And the best defense here is really doesn't matter. It's not going to matter.
Is there any?
I think they've just got no, you know, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. At the end of the day, his defense lawyer has got to do their job. They've got to try at least. But I think if I was him, I'd be, if I was the defense lawyer, I should say, I'd be saying to him, look, just plead guilty and try and get away with the, you know, just plead guilty. He's not going to get away with it, is he? It's just impossible that he's actually not going to get found guilty. Any
lesser included charge based on these circumstances?
Yeah,
because sometimes I've seen defense attorneys do this, right? It's a loser of a case, but maybe it's, you know, second degree or something.
No,
in these circumstances, is there any argument for anything?
Let him try to escape. That would be lesser included.
Yeah, I think strategically, given the quantum of evidence that we've now seen in all of these documents, I imagine the strategy for the defense is going to be to try and get him life without the possibility of parole rather than the death penalty. But you go through the trial, you make an appellate record.
Are the things you do in the trial towards that end?
Yeah, certainly. So, you know, first we're going to see the actual trial on the facts of the case, and then we're going to have the death portion where the 4 aggravating factors are going to be presented. The idea that she was a vulnerable victim, I think mom is going to come into play there. And, you know, certainly if he has the prior conviction for the sex abuse, that's a big aggravating factor the jury will hear about. And the defense presents.
Look at his eyes there. You know, when I showed this video before a while ago when it first came out, I remember stop it. Look at his eyes. That's him. That's Stephan Stearns. That's the real Stephan Stearns. That's the Stephan Stearns that poor Maddie saw that night, you know, without the whingy voice. Look at the snide look. Let me just go back a little bit and freeze it again.
Vulnerable victim. I think mom is going to come into play there. And, you know, certainly if he has the prior conviction for the sex abuse, that's a big aggravating factor the jury will hear about. And the defense.
It's like something off a horror film. This man, he's just awful. Look, the way he side eyes that guy, and then the next minute, oh, I only had a toilet roll for a pillow. Oh, poor me, poor me. But that is him. That is his real face. Look how horrible it is.
Defense presents, you know, stuff we don't know at this point. His life, his background, anything mitigating about him at all. Anything mental health. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, Stephan. That is sinister Stephan. You've seen the real Stephan there, as clear as anything.
We don't know.
They may adopt the Nicholas Cruz strategy. That's the Parkland massacre. That's the guy who clearly did it. They had him dead to rights. So he pled to the court, pled guilty, and then he went right to the penalty phase and was able to say that his mother didn't love him enough, smoked in the womb, all that other stuff, and it got him life in prison by a 9-3 vote. The problem is for Stearns, the law has now changed. You'll get the death penalty in Florida now by a vote of 8-4. It doesn't have to be unanimous anymore.
Yeah, that's a big change. That's a game changer down in Florida.
Yeah, and I think ultimately when it comes to these kind of interesting changes in the law, like my...
Yeah, so not only it doesn't have to be unanimous now, 8-12. 8 out of 12 jurors. So you don't even need 11. You know, you don't need 10. You don't need 9. You only need 8 of the 12 jurors to give him the death penalty, and he'll get the death penalty.
Prosecutor friend also mentioned that now you can have the death penalty for the child sex abuse as well. This is a new change. Everything with death penalty litigation is a lot of times like post-conviction. You know, it's three-dimensional chess. So you go through the trial, you have terrible facts, and you're thinking about how they changed the law, and perhaps you have a constitutional challenge that you can bring up many, many pleadings later after the trial's concluded, after you've been found guilty.
Let me ask you this. Is there, because again, the discussion on this case always comes back to Jen Soto, right? Is there any prosecutor anywhere that would consider sitting down, speaking with Stephan Stearns, taking death off the table for him to implicate her?
I would think not. I would think not at all. But I also believe that she is going to be prosecuted. I just think it's a matter of time and exactly what the charges are. No.
I don't agree with him. I don't think she will be prosecuted, but what do I know? But the thing is, he can't throw Jen under the bus because he's not a reliable witness. You know, he's not a reliable, you know, if he turns around now and starts saying, it's a bit like Chad Daybell, wasn't it? Trying to blame everything on Laurie Vallow. But, you know, the thing is, they're not credible. You know, the jury isn't going to listen to what Stephan Stearns has got to say, I don't think. I certainly wouldn't. If I was a juror and Stephan Stearns started throwing Jen Soto under the bus, I know a lot of people are against Jen Soto. I personally am not, you know, so against her. I just think she's stupid. I don't think she's wicked. But, you know, are you really going to believe Stephan Stearns, what he says? No.
Prosecutor would take the death penalty off because it would be not only the wrong thing to do, but the optics would be even worse than taking the penalty of death off.
And who's your key witness against the mother? This monster? He'd make the worst witness. So no deal for this guy.
He would be the worst. Okay. As I look at what happened in this case with Jen Soto, and I'm trying to understand, is there anything that we can take away from this? Like, is there any lesson? Is there anything that our system can do to protect someone like Madeleine? She was subjected to this man for years. Or is it almost nothing the system can do because mom was not there to protect her?
There are times when tragedies happen.
You know, I wish they would sometimes bring in the rest of the family as well. Nobody protected Madeleine. Her dad didn't protect her either. You know, nobody knew what was going on. It isn't only Jen. No, that man fooled everybody, including Madeleine's father. You know, they were busy mates. So, you know, it's important that it's remembered. It's always the mother gets the blame for everything. And I know she lived there, and I know I understand that. But I think you've got to take into play that this man is a master manipulator, and we don't know. You know, you could see that over the years that Jen was with Stephan Stearns, she changed. You know, she was sort of a lot happier, more carefree and attractive when she first met Stephan than she was like now.
Happen over which we should have had control, should have had knowledge, but we can't. Mom was there. Mom said nothing. Mom should have. She didn't. Maybe, just maybe, if mom is prosecuted, whether she is convicted or not, it's another story. But if she's prosecuted, it might help the public.
But what they're going to prosecute her? Prosecute her for what? Being stupid. I mean, you can't prosecute someone. What is the crime? Maybe child neglect. I don't know. What would they prosecute her for? You know, unless they've actually got pictures and evidence, like they've got. You know, what are they going to prosecute Jen for? Being a thicko.
Public. I'm saying that's what I'm saying. If enough people put their eyes on this as to what happened, oh my gosh, I better go take care of my child. I don't like what he's doing. I'm not sure. Maybe, just maybe, that will save the life of one child.
Are you surprised that No doctor was told, no teacher, no mandatory reporter who, if they...
Well, she did go to a doctor. Anyway, that comes up in the paperwork. She was seeing a doctor, you know, but of course they thought she had problems because of what she was going through, as always happens.
Heard anything or saw anything, certainly would have stepped forward and made a report here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and I'll say, you gentlemen probably haven't experienced this, but being a 13-year-old girl is very difficult. Being a prepubescent young girl, it's a very, you know, it's a stressful time in your life, no matter how good your home life is. And I think at the end of the day, you know, we have to encourage young women to talk and to share things and to be open and to discuss their lives.
Let me put this out there. This is from an interview of Madeleine's 13-year-old friend. Madeleine's friend told me that Madeleine typically got her menstrual cycle 2 days before she did, the friend did, except for last month when Madeleine got hers a week or two after Madeleine's friend got hers. Madeleine's friend told me they did not have conversations as to why her menstrual cycle was late. Madeleine's friend believed she was a virgin and she did not ever see or hear anything to the contrary. Because a lot of people are still wondering, could the motive have been that this little girl may have gotten pregnant?
Right. Right. And I think you have to have difficult conversations sometimes with young women that potentially are in dangerous situations. It's very hard to have the bravery and the courage, no matter how heinous your home life is, to bring that conversation to light. And so I think that those around young women, middle school age women, have to have these difficult conversations in hopes that you can encourage people who are in positions like Madeleine's to have a voice.
Molly is so right, because teachers, everybody who surrounds a child has got to keep their eyes wide open, not wide shut. And the more they see, the more they look, the more they see, and the more they see, they've got to say something, even if they believe it's going to go on deaf ears. We've got to protect our kids better than we're doing.
Absolutely. Give me the final word.
Yeah, perhaps it should be a crime in Florida to allow your creepy boyfriend to sleep in a bed with your daughter. And maybe the only way to get that on the books is to prosecute it in this case. That'll send the right message.
Big thank you to our think tank tonight. What a job. What a job.
Okay, so that's you know, we've looked at some of the papers with them, some of the documents with them. I just want to read out a couple of things from Twitter that Gisela from Grizzly, I always want to say Ghastly True Crime. I just had to make sure I was saying the right thing then. Just to have a look at some of the things that she's released. Let's have a look. So she's just released a couple of snippets on Twitter. Now, of course, I think she's covering the whole thing. So if you want to hear her version of, you know, her going through the actual documents, why can't I find it? So apparently she's read up to page 52 so far. So Jen admitted she didn't actually see Madeleine on February the 26th. She directed Stephan and Madeleine to sleep upstairs in room 4 so that she could get some rest. You know, I mean, she's an idiot, Jen. She is a complete idiot. Right, it was some bits that she was saying. There was some other bits. Yeah, so Madeleine told her friend she stopped taking her medication on February the 14th, Valentine's Day, and felt much better and had more energy. She won Student of the Week on February the 16th, and she said that she was happy that her mum's weird boyfriend had moved out. And then by February the 26th, she was dead, bless her. So she had spoken about him to a friend. Now, apparently as well, he had other affairs, Stephan, and he wasn't happy just with Jen and Madeleine. Apparently he cheated on Jen, and he told his ex that he slept in the same bed as Madeleine Soto. He told his ex, you know, the woman he had an affair with. So yeah, he cheated on Jen, and he told that lady, now I've got to put this in a discreet way. He actually, I read this on Reddit actually. That woman he had an affair with, God knows how she feels now, but he told her that he shared the bed with Madeleine. So maybe she should have said something as well. It's not, you know, it feels like everyone's let Madeleine down, really. I mean, I know that woman hasn't got, you know, doesn't know Madeleine, but you just think, God, I'm just thinking what you would do if, you know, my boyfriend said to me that he was sleeping in the same bed as his stepdaughter. Well, no, can you imagine somebody telling you that? Be like as bad as saying they were a furry. You know, it's, you know, we're in that Twilight Zone again. We're in that parallel universe. So apparently he told this woman as well that he would get aroused when he was sleeping in the same bed as Madeleine. He told this ex-girlfriend of his that as well. So this is, you know, all in the documents. This is all in the documents. Let's see, is there any more there? So I just want to read out some things off Reddit as well. So apparently Maddie had no respect or privacy in her home. The condo was a 4-bedroom, had 4 bedrooms, but Maddie's room was in the living room. Also, someone said that he would always want to spend time in the living room, which of course was Maddie's bedroom. He was creepy and narcissistic, and it was a way of control. Maddie said that was weird, but nobody helped her at all. Everyone in this girl's life failed her. You know, and apparently in bedroom 4, where Madeleine would sometimes sleep with Stephan, there were in her bedroom, labelled living room bedroom area, that were found boxes, a phone tripod. So that's how he was doing this filming. He had a tripod. Also, there in the bedroom 4 where she slept with Stephan was found cream used for it's a word that I can't say on for pleasuring yourself. Cream used for pleasuring yourself was found in that bedroom where he used to spend time with Maddie. You know, it was just awful, awful. I'm just trying to see. Somewhere on Reddit, they keep saying that there is some. Can we find any? Let's have a look. Oh, there's some papers here. Let's have a look. What's this? Oh, hang on. No, not many. What's that? No. I've got to get these. I've got to get hold of these documents because I want to look at them, not in bits and pieces like this. I want to look at them properly. There's some GPS data on Reddit there, but not very interesting to look at. But let's see if I can see anything else. What's that? Oh, there's an interview. There's the papers here from the interview with the teachers. We'll have a look at that, and then that'll probably be it for today. So these were the interviews with her teachers. So a lot of it's been redacted. So we've got the interview with a 25-year-old, an interview with a 33-year-old, and an interview with a 12-year-old. So that must be a friend. Yeah, I need to get into these papers properly and do some proper yeah, because I can't. Let's see, can I? Oh, there's quite a lot of them here. Oh, these are off that Gavin Fish website. Where's it gone? Right, so there's some papers here. But I need to look. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get hold of the whole records. And I'm going to release some sort of bite-sized videos or, with the information as it goes. But I won't do that now because, we've already been on a little while and you probably furried out because we've heard about the furries. That was bad enough. Then about, Madeleine, it's not very nice, is it, the whole thing? So, you can get a bit sort of jaded, can't you, with true crime? So remember, tomorrow night I'm going to do a quiz, a public quiz, not just a members only quiz. And we're going to do it'll be a crime quiz, be connected with crime, but it'll be like music, songs that have got crimes mentioned in them, or murder, or knives, or guns, or so connected with crime, but loosely. I'm going to be giving you some lyrics and see if you can guess which song the lyrics come from that's to do with crime. I know Amethyst, the documents are not nice, so I am going to go through them. I'm going to get hold of them and go through them, but I'm not going to do it now. I think we've had enough of that now. And I'm going to do it just in short videos. I'll do a series and I'll make a playlist because I think it'd be too much. Well, obviously 900 and odd pages is too much. So I'll put them up and then people can just watch them when they want to, when they're feeling strong enough to, because it's not the sort of thing you want to look at time like where it might trigger you or whatever. Oh, you working tomorrow, Rio? Oh, bless. Well, yeah, you'll have to go and catch up. You'll still be able to play the quiz, but I know it's not the same when you're not live. Bye, Rachel. It's nearly finished now anyway. So, gosh, do you know any furries? If you've joined later on, you don't know what a furry is, you have to go back to the beginning and have a look at that. I'll definitely be doing a video about that in the morning. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to do this quiz, this music quiz. Unless there's some dramatic news happens in the meantime, you just never know in the world of crime, do you? It's like anything could happen. So thank you so much for being members. Thank you for being here with me tonight. And, I didn't even light a candle. I keep forgetting to light the candle, which is not good. But, of course, the candle will be for Madeleine. Has to be for Madeleine, doesn't it? Oh, and something else I just wanted to say that I forgot is I feel a little bit. What about Stephan's parents and his family? I'm just thinking how that must feel for them. I mean, I don't know what kind of people they are, if they knew Madeleine. But, it's not nice, is it, for your son to go on death row, whichever way you look at it. So I do feel a little bit for them as well. The thing is, we have to remember sometimes, not only the families of the victims, but the families of the perpetrators, if they're completely innocent and they knew nothing about it, that's a tough time for them as well. a tough thing for them to take on board as well. So I think we should always need to think about that. Okay, so remember to live and love carefully and wisely. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Thank you so much for being members. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Bye. Oh, I'm going to put my little video on just for a couple of minutes. Bye.